Review book one is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is the career alchemist and the author of the upcoming book, Career Transformation. Know the 30-day career reboot. No other than Mr. Keith Anderson.
Yeah. Hi, Daniel. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk with you and your guests.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Keith. And can you please introduce more about yourself, most especially your upcoming book, The 30-Day Career Reboot?
Sure. So my name is Keith, as you said, and I am a career alchemist, which means I help people find the career that really is suited for them. A lot of the people that I work with are people who were once in a path that aligned with who they were, but now it no longer does. So they're ready for a next phase of their career, and the book, The 30-Day Career Reboot. Uh, it focuses on that. How do you go from where you're at now, being kind of stuck, not so happy, and just kind of going through the motions of your career, but not really enjoying it, and just something where you're able to not only find a path that's in better alignment with who you are, but something where joyful about it, and you're able to grow and move your career in the longer term towards a north star that you're able to set. So those are the people that I work with, and the purpose of my book.
Congratulations, Mr. Keith. I'm looking forward
Thank
for that
you.
book. And thank you for sharing your knowledge to the world. So let's talk about stop job searching, start attracting. Can you tell us about this?
Yeah, for sure. So essentially, a lot of people go through the job process in the same way that they have been for since the industrial age, I would say, right? Where it's
Yes.
apply to jobs, hope that they choose you, and then move forward. But this path is becoming less and less and less. Be useful, right? Because now you're against 1,000, 2,000 people when you apply for just one role, if that role is even open, and you're just waiting around, right? So in a place like that, you're not really empowered, right? And the job search can become dull, right? And be demotivating. So when I speak about not searching for jobs, start attracting jobs, it's about uh, how landing a role is all about your communication and perception that people have of you. So it's about reshifting that narrative in a way that makes you someone that people want to engage with. So recruiters, hiring managers, hiring teams, and then gives you that charisma, the charismatic pieces to draw people in and make them want to talk to you more and bring you onto their team, because of your uniqueness, not because you're just a warm, not just because of your resume. So yeah.
Because you are unique people. And Mr. Keith, how does the mindset of attracting role differ fundamentally from actively job hunting?
Well, when you're actively job hunting, the mindset is I need to find a job, right? And like where are the leads to find a job? When you're attracting jobs, really what you're doing is attracting through curiosity. So you're meeting people because you're sincerely interested to learn more about them, right? You're not going into these meetings with other people or in your own head even like I need to get a job, so I need to ask this person about a job, right? It's just about finding out who they are. So, it- you know, believe it or not, when you have peop- people can sense when you are transactional, right? Especially when you first meet them. So if you go in and say and think like, "Oh, I'm having this meeting because I want to get a job, that doesn't really it doesn't work, and people's guard continues to go up when you meet them for the new time. Once you start using this method where your mindset is focused on curiosity, not just acquiring a job, people's defense starts to come down, and then they become more willing to support you and help you, right? Instead of this more transactional piece where they realize um, you don't really want to engage with them more than that. So that's essentially the mindset: is curiosity rather than just strictly like get me a job type of outlook.
Mr. Keith, what fears or limiting belief hold people back from adopting this strategy, or how can they overcome them?
Yeah, so one of the biggest issues that comes up is, especially now, people are saying, oh, the economy is so bad, oh, the job market is horrible, etc. I mean, that's a limiting belief, right? Like the glass is half full or the glass is half empty, right? There's still millions of people getting hired every month, right? So
Yes.
become one of those people, not one of the ones that is saying, oh, I can't do this because the job market's bad. I mean, y- I would say, in terms of shifting your mindset, there's this popular belief or societal belief or messages that you hear. In this case, is about the job market being bad. There's so many others that society or people say that's not necessarily the truth, So you define what your truth is in terms of your life and your career. And when um, start putting those things that are assumptions aside, then you can start moving forward and really driving your destiny within your career rather than being boxed in and told that these are the parameters that you need to work in.
Yes, indeed. So let's talk about the personal branding. What are the key elements of a personal brand that naturally draws employers or clients?
Yeah, so there's two big elements if we're talking about your personal brand. You need to be showing two things. So you need to be showing you're competent, right? You know what you're talking about. You have uh, experience and expertise to back that up. Then the second one is warmth. You need to show that you're approachable, that you're someone that people want on their team, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
so once you bring in those two pieces, I in a unique way, but it's a unique balance because you can't really over-index on one or the other. So once you do that, then you start to build more of a magnetism, right? Where, let's say on your LinkedIn, for example, once you do this, people aren't just swiping right like on Tinder and saying, okay, next, next, next. They're swiping right, where they're putting you on the short list. Like recruiters are putting you and like marking you on the back end as someone that they want to reach out to. Things like that. That's essentially um, the initial approach that you need to take in order to start attracting jobs and start attracting people to want to engage with you.
Mr. Keith, apply more, network harder, go back to school, try harder. Can you please explain to this?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, essentially, like what this graphic is showing is just all of these things, these limiting beliefs, right? Or misconceptions about what you need to do in order to get a job or to grow in your career. And, a lot of people think apply more, right? It just apply, apply, apply.
Mhm.
Quantity over quality. Network harder, meet more people, go back to school, get more certificates, try harder. All of these things you are really self-limiting beliefs and are not the direction that actually does move the needle for you. So some of these things, there's, for example, apply more. It's not a quantity thing, it's a quality thing. That's what you need to be focusing on. Um, because when you just put your resume out there, you're most likely, if it's not something you want to do, you most likely will land a role then that you probably aren't that interested in, or it's not within your zone of genius. So that, and then networking just refers to meeting anyone who will speak to you. No, it's about being really strategic about who you're talking to, right? Um, and then going back to school, try harder. I mean, these are self-limiting beliefs on why you can't move forward, which is just not true. So if you see at the back of the image, it says this way, right? This is how you can kind of circumvent all of these, these obstacles or self-limiting beliefs, because those aren't serving you. So there's a way out of this.
Yes, indeed. Let's do focus of what we can do to the world. Try and try and try until you succeed.
Mhm.
So, Mr. Kid, did you introduce those things in your book, your upcoming book?
So, in this upcoming book, the 30-day career reboot, the focus is actually on this initial stage before you're even starting to land a role. It's about getting clear on what who you are, what is your professional identity outside of just individual jobs, right? But what is that North Star that you're going towards? A lot of people, especially when they're transitioning careers, they kind of lose their identity, in terms of who they are professionally, which is something I did too in my journey, where I became so intertwined with being a teacher initially. And then once I realized that wasn't in alignment with me anymore, it took me a while to kind of get my bearings. This book is to help you get your bearings much faster than it took me and takes many other people without any guidance. So, um, by the end of this book, uh, people will come out with having having a path and confidence on where they want to move next, right? And that North Star on what that looks like. And then after the book, then it's about those pieces we were talking about like attracting opportunities and about accelerating your career in that way. But there's no point, you can't really accelerate your career if you don't know what you're accelerating towards. So that this is to help you identify what you're moving towards.
Looking forward for that book, Mr. Keith. And as a career alchemist and as an author, what will be your short-term and long-term goals?
Yeah, so for me, I my goal with this book is to help help people go through the path of finding their next way in their career and how they're giving back to the world more easily. Because it took me a year and a half. I've taken all those essence and put it into a 30-day career reboot. So over the next year or so, I want to continue growing this out and continue working one-on-one and in group coaching with my clients who are going through this process. It's so rewarding for me to see this. And then from there, really, my North Star is around helping professionals really see the light and joy in what they're doing. So their career is kind of a beacon of light in all parts of their life, right? So it doesn't feel like this energy draining thing that brings you down everywhere. It's the opposite, it brings you up everywhere, because that has happened with me in my career, and I want other people, everyone I work with, I want them to have a similar experience. So yeah, that's short term and long term.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Keith, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be a career alchemist or as an author too?
Yeah, so I would say for authors, this is my first book, and I would say just do it, right? Like, we have that idea. A, a lot of us overthink, especially fellow book writers. Like, we want it to be perfect, whatever that means, and we want all this, but you just need to do it and not think, right? put your hands on your keyboard and start. And then you can always go back, make changes, what have you, work with an editor. But the more that you think about it, the less you're doing on it. So just go ahead and do it, because you're never going to get this time back, right? Time is the only thing that doesn't, the only value that you can't get back. So do it now, or it might be a regret when, if you don't do it, if you don't do it
Do it
now.
now. Yes,
Exactly.
people do it now. Stop procrastinating. If you have the passion to write, write, and share to the world, just like Mr. Kit Anderson. Let's talk about the skill development and visibility. What the skills or traits make someone magnetic to employers,
So
and how can they develop?
yeah, so through, as I was mentioning before, these warmth signals and competency signals are the two essential pieces you need to uh, become sticky, right? Or charismatic. When I say sticky, that means someone that people want to be around, they want to engage with, they want to work with, right? So to do that with the warmth signals, it's about being authentically you, right? In the job market, and when you submit applications and go through that, there's a tendency for people to sound like everyone else, right? You don't want to sound like everyone else. You want to have similarities to you do want to have similarities to other people, right? So you're not seen as completely different, but you need to set yourself apart, even just by showing unique things about your personality that make you stand out. Otherwise, if you look the same as everyone else, there's nothing that you're just a commodity, right? There's nothing that makes you distinct. So that is the first piece. And then the second piece is around competency. You need to be showing not that you have 20 years of experience or 5 years of experience or whatever. Saying that doesn't really mean anything, as practice makes what is the expression? Practice makes permanence, right? So uh, what you want to be doing is showing different circumstances and instances in your career where you have solved certain problems, and you have made big changes, uh, and you want those together to be illustrating where you are now in terms of your critical thinking, and then where you are in the future, right? Because yes, past can help predict what is in the present and the future, but it's not as clear cut as you might think. So it's all about competency, is really all about understanding the problems that the person you are speaking to has, and then the unique solutions that you have done in the past, or different elements of that that ladder up to that. So yeah, it's not just about I worked at Meta for 15 years or I worked at Google for 5, whatever. It's about what you did there, not about a title, not about anything like that. So, yeah,
Yes, indeed. It's all about your accomplishment. How do
exactly.
you leverage social media platforms like LinkedIn to possibly attract opportunities?
So, through the warmth and competence signals, it's about adjusting your profile to a way that shows you are, um, you know, you are someone who is you want to show that you're someone who understands the people who are reading your profile on LinkedIn. So a lot of people have they're in their about section. I have 15 years of experience. I've done this, this, this. I mean, is that really attracting the people that you're trying to engage with on your LinkedIn? No. Everyone has a problem, and then they need solutions. And that's what they're
Yes.
hiring for. So you need to identify what are their problems, and you need to word it in a way that speaks to their language. And then you need to state what solutions are through your experience of what you've done to move the needle. And then even after that, explain in your profile what it looks like after having you on their team. Like, maybe if you'd be reporting into leadership, maybe you could say, like, okay, while I'm doing this, you'll have more time to lead the team to do XYZ, right? Because at the end of the day, everyone really is thinking, what's in it for me, right? And once you state their problem and then the solution, and can start seeing you as that solution, then you start become more attractable to hiring managers.
Beautifully articulated, Mr. Kit. Very well said.
Thank you.
What mistakes do people often make when trying to attract roles, and how can they avoid them?
Um, I would say the biggest one that I see is people thinking that they just need to show that they have done all of the requirements for the job, like, "Oh, I have 5 years experience doing HTML," or whatever it says there, and thinking that that's enough. That is very much not enough. Like, it it's not a checklist that people are looking for, even though the job description can look like that, in reality, it's not. People are looking or teams are looking for people that they want to work with, right?
Yes.
And w- if you go through the traditional route of applying online, going through a recruiter, and then a hiring manager, if you're lucky, the success rate with that is 0.03%, by the way. So it's pretty low. But if that is the approach you're taking, then those things like those requirements, that is what's preventing you not from being blocked by a computer, right? Fine. But then if you're moving on to just a recruiter looking at your background, it's not just going to be those requirements. It's going to be something really unique that makes you stand out. So that's the biggest misconception people have. Like, it's about meeting that checklist, and it's about throwing in a bunch of keywords right into their resume. And key keywords and meeting these things, it's like an easy way out, right? You need to get clear on your value. You need to get clear on what your audience, whoever you're talking to, really needs and wants, and then position yourself that way, not as like this keyword junkie, because then you sound like everyone else. So, yeah, that's my advice.
Mr. Kid, how do you handle rejection or silence when opportunities don't materialize immediately?
Yeah, so a lot of times in the job search process, your emotions can become a thing, right? And it can be a very humbling experience, you could say, right? Um, what I've found and my clients have found is really taking more of a metrics driven approach, right? Where you're taking out the emotions and you have metrics of like, these are how many interviews I need to land. These are how many applications I sent in. This is how many informational interviews I have, all of those like each week. And you don't hear, you won't hear back from some of these roles, but logically, you need to focus on something else, not just that one individual role, but you need to keep on moving the needle there. And that's what having these weekly metrics help you do. Right. So, um, uh, to be very honest, I, I've experienced this too in my own job searches where it can get emotionally draining and be discouraging. But I would say, emotions are something that are you can use that energy towards get moving stuff forward, right? Because a lot of times emotions can hold you back and can keep you from gaining momentum, right? So once you start really making sure that you're hitting these milestones weekly in terms of what you're doing, of how many, outreach messages you do, things like that, then you start to realize the bigger picture is not just about this single role that you applied for and you haven't heard back from. It's about kind of a bigger picture, and that you're doing step by step to get there. Um, because everything, like a lot of these emotions come from like not having momentum and not being in control, right? So once you are in control through using a metrics based approach, then things are moving, and you don't in general the emotions tend to um, become become something you can move past more easily.
Mr. Keith, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and of course my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 in fourth season, love letters in third season, and my baby podcast, mental health 101, movie 101 review in its fourth season too, Music 101 and third season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 and each first season. Now, please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Keith, how do you see AI and automation reshaping how professionals attract opportunities in the future?
Well, the job market is changing quite a bit. So you need to adapt and you need to embrace these AI technologies or you get left behind. Um, so that's number one. Number two, in terms of how to adapt and how it can help you in your job search, is more roles are looking for you to have those skills to be accentuating them on your resume on your LinkedIn is good. And then also there are tools out there where like ChatGPT is one where you can use that as a thought partner to kind of think through how you can represent yourself using these competence and warmth markers that I mentioned. Just the one word of advice is you know, you want to make sure that you're not doing it in such a way where you're becoming just sounding like everyone else. So it's finding that line, but there's a lot of things you can do with ChatGPT, and other AI tools out there to enhance what you're doing, but just be careful of like that, kind of making yourself sound like everyone else. So yeah.
Yes, people, be unique. Uniquely. So, Mr. Kit Anderson, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. And we
Yeah.
are looking forward for the 30-day career reboot. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your business itself and, of course, your upcoming book?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it. And if you're interested in learning more, you can go to my website at careeralchemylab.com and learn more about the book and other services that I have to help you attract opportunities instead of chasing them.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Keith Anderson because if you support him, more and more and more empowering books to come, more and more empowering business to come. So, Mr. Keith, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it.
Monica, people, see you soon.